Hello, welcome to our presentation, and thank you for your attention and coming to listen to us. Yoshihiko Wada is me, and I, together with Lee Tan, will present our research under the title "The Unequal Exchange of the Rare Earth Transitional Mineral Supply Chains." And my affiliation is Doshisha University Faculty of Economics in Kyoto, Japan, and I studied under Professor William Rees and my senior student Mattis Wakenagar at the University of British Columbia in the 1990s. And also I had a privilege of studying at the University of Vermont. In the 2008, and Lee Tan will introduce herself later on. Okay, and okay, so I'd like to touch upon what the rare earth minerals are. Rare earth minerals are consist of 17 elements, and they are raw materials for many products, such as eco products, for example, motors for electric vehicles and wind turbines and so on. So very important elements for electronics and high-tech industries. And it is becoming more and more important because it is predicted that the number of the EV ownership will reach 145 million, which is about 10 times, more than 10 times the current figure. And this graph shows that growing demand for rare earth materials and rare earth due to the increasing of popularity of EVs and other environmentally sound technologies. So, okay. So I'd like to touch upon the background information and the brief history of rare earth problems in Malaysia, such as ARE incident and Linus refinery problems. First of all, I'd like to touch upon the ARE incident, which is to some extent the predecessor of the Linus rare earth refinery issue. Okay, the rare earth ore usually is accompanied by radioactive substances, not all the time, but often the case. And that those substances are thorium and uranium. And Malaysia experienced a severe radioactive pollution case some 30 years ago, which is called the Asian Rare Earth Incident, which took place in Bukit Merah village in the vicinity of Ipoh. The ARE operated its refinery for rare earth products and without adequate waste management. So that's why there has been many victims, many children became leukemia and developed cancers and so on. However, there has been no compensation because the plaintiff lost in its lawsuit case. So the responsibility of the ARE company was denied in the court. Wow, that which is very unfortunate. But the cleanup operations have been done to some extent, but some areas have been left contaminated. So it is still worrisome that these areas are still causing some health problems. And ARE, in fact, was the subsidiary company of a Japanese chemical corporation, a very large one, Mitsubishi Kase. Now it's called Mitsubishi Chemical. And this ARE incident was the first radioactive exposure incident from Malaysia. And so, Japan is responsible for this radioactive pollution incident, and this is a very typical case of pollution export, because the reason why Mitsubishi Kase decided to relocate its rare earth refinery to Malaysia is because the Japanese government regulation for radioactive waste management became very strong and very rigid. Then that's why Mitsubishi decided to relocate its refinery to Malaysia, which had a lower standard of radioactive waste management. Okay, so this is a very severe case, and I feel very sorry for the victims and family of the victims. All right. Okay, so Australian mining company Lynas built a refinery called Lynas Advanced Materials Plant in 2012. And the Lynas company mines rare earth ore in its mine called Mount Weld mine site in Western Australia. And then that ore is shipped to Malaysia and processed in this refinery called LAMP. The Lynas, why Lynas decided to have this refinery in Malaysia? Because again, the regulation for radioactive waste management in Australia is very strict, so they thought that it is very costly to operate in Australia itself. So they decided to build that in Malaysia, right? So and then it's started operation in December 7th, 2012, and citizens in Malaysia and citizens groups are strongly against this operation because they are afraid that the same or similar radioactive pollution case as Asian rare earths might take place again in Kuantan. Right? And this is the location of ARE incident, right, near Ipoh, and this is the LAMP facility near Kuantan, right? And this is a photo of Gavin Industrial Park, right? And then this is a photo taken while I visited the site in 2012, right? Well, in fact, many of the photos have been confiscated by the security guard, but these are the photos that I was able to save, right? Okay, these photos are taken in 2015, and right. Okay, so this area is very close to big cities, and also it's in the center of a pristine natural environment where sea turtles lay eggs and so on. Okay, so I'd like to touch upon the Japanese involvement in this Lynas refinery. So Japanese government and its subsidiary organization called JOGMEC offered a loan facility of 225 million US dollars and invested 25 million US dollars to Lynas company in 2012. And so this company, it's a Japanese trading company, is also involved in this project. And in return, Japan was promised to have, to receive the supply of 8,500 tons of rare earth minerals per year for 10 years. And then in 2023, the contract was renewed, and actually the 65% of annual products are being shipped to Japan. So Japan heavily depend on this Lynas refinery, and also this operation is possible because of the Japanese financial assistance, right? Okay, and then so the next I'd like to touch upon the citizens' movement against this operation because of the fear of the radioactive contamination. So the Linus had planned to start operation May 2012. However, the engineer revealed the secret that the dump facility was being built up on, with a very poor quality control. So New York Times picked it up and published a report on this. And Fukushima nuclear disaster took place in March 2011, and citizens in Malaysia was very much awakened, and the movement against was activated because this Fukushima nuclear incident, the disaster, reminded the disastrous ARE radioactive incident some 30 years ago. For example, Save Malaysia Stop Lions is one of the citizens group, and Mr. Buntan Teet is very active and very has shown a very strong leadership in this movement, right? So Mr. Li Tang is here, and some of the politicians are also involved in the movement. Okay, so this is hi. Okay, so okay, but on the other hand, the Linus company claims that the operation is clean and safe. And the director, I met with the director of the facility, and he said that the radiation level of the waste is 6.2 becquerel per gram. So this can be safely accommodated by tailing dams with the layers of clay, which is 30 centimeters, and also HDPE, the plastic sheet, which is only 1 millimeters. So, and if leakage happens, then sensors can detect it, so there's no problem. But the German scientist says that this is not adequate. In Germany, even non-radioactive waste cannot be allowed to dispose of in such a poor facility. And the Australian engineer, Dr. Gavin Mudd of Monash University, claims that this is in such a situation, there should be 3 clay and plastic layers, and in between, sand layers should be also inserted. Okay, and also the Japanese scientist, Mr. Hiroaki Koide of Kyoto University, says that the thorium content of the lamp waste, 6.2 becquerel per gram, means that the concentration ratio of thorium is 1,500 ppm. And he thinks that this is serious enough to pay much more attention. Okay. All right, so it seems like the Linus Lecter's claim is invalid. Okay, so I and with the help of Li Tan and Mr. Buntan Teet and others, I was able to collect some soil samples and was able to conduct content analysis of the Linus facility waste discharge area. Okay, so this is the site of the village, fishing village at the river mouth, about 5 kilometers downstream of the discharge gates. Okay, so I was able to collect all the mud from that. Okay, and Okay, so this is just before the operation, and this is 1 year after operation, and this is 3 years after operation. So thorium content became more than the thorium environmental standard of EU building materials. Okay, and so the uranium, red one uranium, is also increasing. And so the other materials, the substance, chemical materials, toxic materials have shown some increase in 1 year after 1 year after the operation started. So very much increased. Okay, so what I want to say is that it is highly possible that the Linus Earth refinery is causing radioactive pollution. So if this is the case, then the quality of life of Malaysians is being sacrificed for the sake of industry, especially for the sake of Japan's industry and its prosperity. Okay. So I hope that the researchers in Japan, Malaysia, and Australia work together to clarify the reality of the Linus problem. And also the Malaysian government should revoke its operation license until it becomes clear that the Linus waste management is adequate and safe. Okay. Also, the Japanese government and JOGMEC are responsible for this project, so they should stop financing the operation until the Linus waste management it becomes clear that the Linus waste management is good enough. And instead of depending on the virgin rare earth minerals, we should depend on urban mining. Also, the Japanese um, government and journalists and researchers and civil society will have to make sure that the same mistake as ARE incident should not be repeated by rice operation, because the Japanese companies and Japanese consumers indirectly caused a great deal of problems in the ARE incident in the 1970s and 80s. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and Li Tan will elaborate and explain the current status quo and elaborate its from the geopolitical and the local political and environmental injustice points of view. Thank you so much, and see you later.